Hey, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I am Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC Fight Night, Hunt vs. Mir, one of the greatest main cards of all time. Wow, for a fight night, I guess. But I mean, fight nights can have, any UFC card could have amazing fights. I mean, regardless of pay-per-view, non-pay-per-view, whatever. This was a great card. I mean, even the prelims were great. Alan Jouban, Brendan Riley, that was the last prelim fight. That was great. TKO elbows, round one for victory for Alan Jouban. Great job. Good job, Kenny Johnson, if you're watching. Yeah, that's his wrestling coach. Let's get started. Yeah, this is a post-fight show for Hunt vs. Mir, main card. Yeah, let's do a quick rundown of the main card and my thoughts and afterthoughts of all the fights. So, I'm 4-2 on this main card on my predictions. Got 4 of them right and 2 of them wrong, and so let's go over all of them. Yeah, in the main event in the heavyweight division, we had Mark, the Super Samoan Hunt, versus Frank Mir, former 2-time UFC heavyweight champ. And it was 3 minutes and 1 second into the first round. KO victory for Mark Hunt. Yeah, KO punch. It was good fight. Frank Mir was changing levels, trying to sink in low with Mark Hunt and looking to grapple with him, get into a grappling exchange, and start off by clinching, of course. But I knew Mark Hunt, as a fresh fighter in that first round, would be able to push him away and find his reach fairly quick, being a world-class striker. And so that's exactly what he did, and he was able to find his reach, and he landed a heavy punch that knocked out Frank Mir. And then it was a walk-away knockout. After he knocked him out, he walked right away. And it was, wow, yeah, Mark Hunt's back. He's back in that smack dab in the middle of that top 10 where he belongs. I mean, he was ranked number 9 going into this fight, I believe it was, and yeah, by the UFC rankings before the fight. And yeah, he's definitely where he belongs. Where he's at least beating the bottom tier guys out of the top 15 in the division. And that's his caliber. Is he can at least, if anything, beat those guys. So that's what he's doing, and he's back where he should be. So good job, Mark Hunt. I say he's a couple victories away from a title shot at this point. Getting another title shot. Yeah, then in the co-main event in the welterweight division, we had Neil Magny versus Hector Lombard. Wow, this was a tough fight. I was scared in the first round for Neil Magny, and even the second round. I mean, Neil Magny had to weather a storm with Hector Lombard. Hector Lombard, he's explosive. He goes in for the kill when he smells that blood. He's like a shark. Neil Magny had to keep his composure, and he did. And he found his way out of bottom position of Hector Lombard. And it was third round TKO punches victory for Neil Magny. Good job, Neil Magny. Happy for you, bro. Nice guy. Met him. Neil Magny is definitely deserving of a top 5 guy in this next fight, if not a title shot. I mean, the guy's 10-1 in his last 11 fights. He's on a 3-fight win streak right now. Yeah, I think it's time that he could either be a late replacement for a welterweight title shot, or give him a top 5 guy and have that possibly be a #1 contender fight. If he wins that, then give him the title shot. So, enough said about that. Neil Magny, good job. Happy for you, bro. Yeah, TKO punches, round 3 over Hector Lombard. Pretty impressive. Then in the lightweight division, we had Jake Matthews versus Johnny Case, and yeah, these are two young prospects in the lightweight division in the UFC going at it. Jake Matthews being the younger guy, but Johnny Case still only being 26 years old. I thought that Johnny Case was going to win this fight. Yeah, I was right about the main event. I was right about the co-main event on who would win. This one, uh, yeah, I was wrong about. I picked Johnny Case to win this one. Jake Matthews won. Uh, I'm pretty shocked by it because I was, as talented as Jake Matthews is, I thought Johnny Case would be able to just, kind of coast by with Jake Matthews and narrowly win each round. It would be a tough fight for Johnny Case, but I thought he would at least be able to win every round narrowly and escape being finished by Jake Matthews. I was wrong, though. I think in a rematch, Johnny Case could win in a rematch against Jake Matthews. He could look back and learn from his mistakes, and he'll get better from this loss. Jake Matthews, I think he has learned from his loss in the UFC, and it's made him a better fighter. So Jake Matthews, he wins by submission rear naked choke in the third and final round of this match, and it was only 15 seconds left in the third and final round. So good job, Jake Matthews, but Johnny Case, keep your head up, bro. I'm proud of you for trying, because, Johnny, he really went for it. He wasn't just, fighting to not lose. He was fighting to win. And I think this fight definitely deserved fight of the night, which it got. Then in the middleweight division, we had Dan Kelly versus Antonio Carlos Jr. Now this is the other fight I was wrong about. I thought Antonio Carlos Jr. being the younger, fresher guy, having won Season 3 Ultimate Fighter Brazil in the heavyweight division, moving down to middleweight, that he would know what it's like to fight a big guy, which Dan Kelly is a big middleweight. Yeah, I thought that if anything, Antonio Carlos Jr. would win a decision because they're both really good grapplers, but Antonio would be the quicker on his feet striker, and thus, with grappling somewhat neutralized, that Antonio Carlos would be able to win a decision here, because Dan Kelly can take some hard shots. So, Dan Kelly, he wins by TKO punches. Round 3, a minute and 36 seconds into it. Pretty impressive stuff. Antonio was out. He was down and out, and yeah, Dan Kelly, he smelled that blood and he went for it. It was a good win for Dan Kelly, and he proved that age can be just a number sometimes. Yeah, so good job, Dan Kelly. Then in the light heavyweight division, we had Steve Bosse versus James Tahuna. This one called on the spot. I knew there was going to be a big knockout. Now, it was a close one, though, because James Tahuna could have won by knockout, but I did pick on my pre-fight show, if you go back and watch it, that I had this close fight, but I went with Steve Bosse because I felt like he had the slight better chin, and plus he had the better record, and he's been, he had just less losses. So it was KO punches, and it was only 52 seconds in round number 1. So good job, Steve Bosse. It's hard to tell where he's going to go from here, but for now he's looking good over a notable name in James Tahuna. A name that a lot of people are familiar with. He's a veteran in the UFC. And yeah, now Steve Bosse, he has his hands full with this talent-rich light heavyweight division. So I'll be interested in seeing where he goes from here for sure. Yeah, so it's 52 seconds KO punch victory, and it was a vicious knockout too for Steve Bosse. So yeah, check out the replay if you can, and yeah, light heavyweight clash of the ages right there. Then in the women's strawweight division, we had Bec Rawlings versus Sohee Ham, and yeah, this one was decision unanimous. It was 30-27 on 2 of the judges and 29-28 on another judge. And yeah, you know, I had Bec Rawlings winning each round fairly well using her reach and her height, and it was a good striking match, and Bec Rawlings mixed things up pretty well with the striking. And ironically, I just in my research paper for my English class, I covered an article about Bec Rawlings from UFC Magazine, and so it's nice to see her get the win because I mentioned how, you know, she's a fighting mom. She has 2 kids and she fights for her family, and you know, she cares for her family. So it's nice to see her get that win bonus and move forward in the UFC women's strawweight division. So good job, Bec Rawlings. And that wraps up the post-fight show for UFC Fight Night Hunt vs. Mir. Stay tuned for my next episode, which will be a pre-fight show for Rothwell versus Dos Santos, and that's going to be in Europe, so it's going to be a good, interesting card, fight night. And 2 knockout artists, heavyweights, Dos Santos and Rothwell. So stay tuned for that one, and until then, see ya.